supplementary sheet. Care experienced citizens. I notice a motion by Councillor Property. Councillor Properties.
Yeah, thank you, Provost. We're discussing a lot of topics today, but this topic is close to the heart of what we do in our time as public servants. Firstly, I obviously want to apologise to the audience in this paper. And usually when councillors get a paper late, it's because of some shenanigans or some political sort of confusion that we're trying to slip in through under people's noses. In this case here, it wasn't like that. The reason for the delay in getting this to you is the most important people in this motion are the young people that it involves. And so I did speak to our proud care kids, I did speak to our kids and I said, I'm bringing this motion forward. I didn't want it to be something that councillors do to young people. I wanted to make sure that they had seen it, they agreed to it, and they were happy for me to bring it forward. And until I got that agreement, I wasn't going to bring it forward here today. So I'm glad to say that you did say, yeah, Jim, we think it's a good motion and we're going to bring it forward. So I thank you very much for doing that. I suppose the second point that I would like to make in this as well, and around this table, there's far more qualified people to bring this type of motion to the council. I've been very lucky in my life and in my family life too, but I recognise in our care experienced youngsters, there's people who have not got the same advantages and have not been through the same experiences as perhaps my children have been. One of the things that I said to the young people when I met them was, if you have a young person in Inverclyde, if you're a parent in Inverclyde, you don't stop being a parent when your child turns 16, when they turn 25, when they turn 35. Those of us with older children know that you're there to help them throughout their lives. And I think as corporate parents in Inverclyde, we've really got to take that responsibility and recognise what our young people go through in Inverclyde. The stats that we've done through the promise, and again, the commitment to the promises there, the very first thing is that commitment to the promise, that idea that we want our children to be loved, to be safe, to be respected is key as well. But the stats involving care experience kids are efficacy. There's a whole raft of them, but I took down quite a few of them. I'm not going to go into all of them, but the ones that stand out is care experienced child is twice as likely to experience homelessness, and is 3 times as likely not to have a full-time job by the age of 26. Now, those are stark, and for us as corporate firms, what we would do for our own kids is help them out as much as we can. Now, this motion itself doesn't do this. What this motion does is put forward an idea of, again, care experienced children, kids should be protected characteristics. You know, I listen to them and I know one of the things that they're scared of most is that stigma of care experience. You know, we've been through it before, well, there are terms and terms do, and sometimes terms are important. You know, I noticed that Councillor Wilson earlier on, you know, again, talking about old-fashioned terms that we move on from. You know, what we actually do is we try to be a modern, inclusive council. And I think what this motion does, by calling for care experienced children, care experienced young people, not children, to be a protected characteristic, can only be good. It goes alongside, and I'm sure eventually it will be national policy. Other councils have done it as well. We are not, for the first, we are not the first in doing this, but we are one of the first. So I would ask, when you look at the motion, to support it. What the motion doesn't do, in no way does it undermine our staff and the work they are already doing. We have got fantastic staff that work with our young people. All the motion does is support that and actually say to them, look, we recognise that and we'll put it down as a protected characteristic. I would ask Councillor Maguire to second the motion, and I hope that if members feel like it, that they actually join in and support that motion and speak to it. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fogarty. Councillor McGuire, please.
Provost, I'm seconding Councillor Clockety's motion today, and I won't talk for very long, but I do want to touch on a few things. At Inverclyde Council, we, all of us here, take our role as corporate parents very seriously. We are passionate about ensuring that those who experience care at any point are support and a voice, and we do this through our I Promise team. Everyone deserves to have dignity and respect and to be involved in the decisions that affect them. This motion aims to put care experienced people at the centre of any policies or strategies that affect them. To experience care in whatever way can experience stigma, disadvantage, or as Councillor Clockerty touched on a moment ago, they can be discriminated against or suffer disadvantages throughout their lives, not just whilst they're in care. Being in care impacts the whole person and affects people's lives long. People we stand with and the discrimination that they face.
Thank you, Councillor McGuire. You were just making up there towards the end of it. We've got the gist of what you were saying. Does any other member want to make a contribution? Councillor Brooks, please.
Thank you very much, Provost. So first I'd like to associate myself with the motion and what's been said and give full support. And just a bit of clarity, Jim, from it. So to formally call upon local RSLs, etc. in number 6 there, what does that actually mean? Because I would love to see some action from this to ensure that it comes in Inverclyde wide. So I'm going to send a letter to RSLs, etc. I don't know if Mr. Stratton would like to clarify what he would see by formally call upon. And how do you actually make that happen? There's full support for the motion. I'd like to make it as wide as possible.
Sure. Yes, I think we envisaged an officer would issue a letter to relevant organisations.
Thank you, Provost.
Any other members make a contribution? Councillor Fick, please.
Thanks, Provost. Just to say thank you to Councillor Clockerty for bringing that. You know, as mentioned, as corporate parents, we're absolutely delighted with anything that supports our care experienced community. I was absolutely delighted when you mentioned that you had that consultation with the young people, because that's actually part of our promise. The promise is nothing about us without us. So I've just got a small request that you actually make note of that in the motion, because I think it's really important for us as a council to state that we have not actually put through this motions ourselves, but we've actually, Councillor Clockerty gladly has done that consultation. So if we could make reference to that, I think it's quite important that we're proving that we're following on our promises. Thanks.
No. If we could have that related, that would be excellent.
So can I just check all that? What was to be added in, Councillor Quinn?
Yeah, so it's nothing about us. Nothing about us without us is the promise. So it's just to note that Councillor Clockerty has had that consultation with our Proud to Care group, and he's done that really well. So I think that should be recognised in the motion, that work has been done.
Chief Executive.
Put yourself on. I wonder if it's okay, Councillor Quinn, if we minute that in the minute, and that I refer to that as the officer who will write to the RSLs and the health board. If you're content with that, then means we don't have to change the motion, but I will refer to it. Is that okay?
No.
Okay. Councillor Armstrong, then Councillor Reynolds, please.
Thank you, Provost. I hope you can hear me all right and that my voice isn't too weird. I tested positive for COVID this morning. I support the motion, but I want to make a couple of points about disclosure of personal history. Has to be at the, at the wishes and the timing of the individual, and that automatic flagging can cause real harm. With the protection of us having different married names, and my daughter's no longer living in Scotland, I want to share that she was in fact red flagged during her first pregnancy because of her birth name and her family history. And no amount of trying to explain how differently she had been brought up could in fact bring about change. And it caused real harm, real anxiety. I mean, she absolutely believed that the first mistake she made with her first baby, she would lose the care of her baby. So I want to make that point. One of my daughters will be 39 next week. My other daughter is 37. They came to me when they were 9 and 11 in permanent foster care. My daughter very rarely tells anyone out with the family that I am not, in fact, her mother. And I 100% support her right to make those decisions. So with the proviso that automatic flagging can be very harmful, and that the disclosure is a personal matter and personal choice according to the wishes and timing of the individual, I'm happy to support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Armstrong, for such wise words. Councillor Reynolds, please.
Yeah, just a comment. Like Councillor Robertson, I was at the Your Voice. Stand up. Stand up. I was at the Your Voice AGM this morning, and there was a brilliant video by 4 care experienced children. It was just great. That's what they mentioned. You know, the words being used, and it wasn't just care experienced, but they had a whole list of words that they would prefer to be changed. And they just did it so well, and it just fits in with Councillor Quinn's comments as well. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you. Councillor Reynolds, please.
Thanks very much, Provost, and thanks very much to Councillor Jim Fogarty. Councillor Jim, yeah, and Councillor Maguire also, because I think that's a shame that Councillor Maguire's technology wasn't working, because I think in discussions that I know Jim and Councillor Natasha have had about this, I think one of the points that Councillor Maguire was making was that care experienced young people become care experienced adults, and that was why she felt, I don't want to put words into her mouth, but she felt it was so important that we talked here about care experienced citizens and how those responsibilities as corporate peers don't just stop when somebody reaches a certain age. We had the recovery walk, the Scottish Recovery Walk on Saturday past. Really great to have it in the Battery Park, and some of us councillors were really proud to walk alongside the Proud to Care group, the local Proud to Care group. And often as politicians we get accused of talking the talk but not walking the walk, and I think that's what this motion is really about. It's about walking alongside people. And I just wanted to also mention that a recent social work and social care scrutiny panel, we had a very brief report about the new initiative of the promise keepers and a lot of the work that was going on around that, and I think this motion is exactly the sort of spirit that promise keepers would be about, and making sure that those responsibilities are really keenly felt by all of us. Thanks very much, Councillor Fogarty.
Thank you, Councillor Brennan.
You remember?
Before I go to Councillor Fogarty, is there any other member who make a comment? The Councillor Fogarty.
Yeah, thanks. So my problem is I still can't get used to calling people councillors, so I call line, I call Sandra, call Pam, so I always apologise for that. And I'll go and tell you what I call Francesca. Can I thank you very much for the kind words, and I take it from the board, but say I take what Pam says on board very much so. We do know one of the key things that our young people don't want is they don't want stigma. We do recognise that it's one of the key things, but even when I was talking to them, they even mentioned in the note for this, even the locations they've got, they prefer the locations to call a name rather than a unit, a children's unit or someone. I think that thing's important, and it brings in very much what Sandra says as well. I think we've got to be very careful with the language. And for us in Inverclyde, it's corporate parents that we've all said, I'm glad you've supported this motion. I might have not done it credit deserved in articulating it properly, but I think the words around it and everything else, so thanks very much for looking into it.
Yes. Thank you, Councillor Fogarty. Can we unanimously agree this was the motion? Thank you. Item number 30 on the agenda, page 55.